I'm Tom Zanton, and today I'm going to be talking to you about why root vegetables are so important. Um, I think that root vegetables might be the most important food group for humans to eat, and I think that because I think that there's a good chance that root vegetables were the food that early humans ate the most, the food that gave us all of our advantages over other animals. So, let's start off by talking about really quickly what some of those advantages would have been. Advantages of root vegetables over other types of foods. So first of all, root vegetables are, they're hidden underground, so they tend to not have a lot of competition. Not a lot of other animals dig up root vegetables, um, and on top of that, a lot of them are a good source of starch, which is basically chains of glucose, which humans use glucose for our brains, for our red blood cells, for our muscles. This is a really important nutrient for us. It would have been a really good way to get enough glucose to all the parts of our body that need it. Um, on top of that, root vegetables, they they tend to be, this is not the most exciting benefit, but root vegetables just kind of sit there in the ground. They don't run away from you. People will say, well, meat made us human, except that things that have meat on them, animals that have meat on them, tend to run away from you. They tend to be dangerous. And also they attract the attention of other dangerous animals. Whereas root vegetables don't really have a lot of competition. Not a lot of other animals are necessarily going for them. And then not a lot of the dangerous animals are then, looking for animals digging up root vegetables. And then root vegetables, because the plant is storing energy in the roots for times of the year when the season might not be very good. It might be too dry, it might be too cold. So then the root vegetables are actually available, first of all over the place. But then second, they're also available, year round, where there would be a lot of foods that weren't available in a lot of places. And another thing that root vegetables are made to protect a plant from is wildfires. There are a lot of plants that have adapted to wildfires by putting a lot more of their energy into underground storage organs, into root vegetables. So then, if say humans had evolved in an area where there had been a lot of wildfires, like you might expect in East Africa, where it's pretty hot most of the time, and also it has a dry season yearly. So there would be, you would expect there to be a lot of times when a lot of the places had wildfires. So then it's not that surprising to say, oh, well, in these areas there would have been a lot of root vegetables, and plants would have adapted to put more and more of their energy into the roots, which would be much more likely to survive after a wildfire. And then if you think about, okay, well, if you combine those two things together, you have the root vegetables that are adapted to wildfires. You say, well, maybe humans are meant to be eating those root vegetables in those burned habitats, places where there was a wildfire, because once you have the root vegetables plus the burned habitat, then there isn't a lot of other food for any other animals. Like I said, root vegetables don't have a lot of competition from other animals. And if root vegetables are the only food around, then humans could be the only animal around, or at least the only large animal. Which could explain why humans are poorly adapted to standing up to any sort of large, dangerous animal, and we can't run away from them, So apart from tool use, which, would have been important, another way that we could have adapted to get away with, physically weak, slow bodies, is to just not be around dangerous animals very often. And you can think it's not too hard to think that maybe we could have done that if we were going after root vegetables in burned habitats, because, like I said, not a lot of animals go for root vegetables. Not a lot of animals stick around in burned habitats. So it would have been a relatively safe environment for us to just dig up food and just live off of that, basically. But, the root vegetables, they don't have all of the nutrients we need necessarily until you look at them, consider the aspect of, well, a burned habitat might have a different soil composition than the soil that we grow food in now. And also, humans that were eating root vegetables all the time would have had different gut bacteria. And our gut bacteria seem to be evolved to handle a lot of root vegetables. So, I'm going to be talking more about how burned habitats fit into this and how gut bacteria fit into this. But I think when you look at the fact that our gut bacteria seem to be evolved to handle root vegetables, and root vegetables in a burned habitat would have provided a generally safe environment, and root vegetables would have provided a lot of the needs, the nutrients that we would have needed for our brains, for red blood cells, for our muscles, then it's not that hard to think that, well, maybe humans were made to eat a lot of root vegetables with other foods in there too, but a lot of root vegetables, and then you eat them in this context, and then you get all the nutrients you need. So that's part of why I think that humans are made to eat root vegetables, and why I think that root vegetables are so important to us. I'll be going through more benefits of burned habitats and gut bacteria later, and I'll be covering some of these topics in more depth later. But for now, I think that's a good place to stop. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you.